I'm Kara Glass, a producer for The Advocate. We're joined by Dalila Ali Rajah, founder of the Black Queer Joy movement. How are you, Dalila?
Um, I'm hanging in by a thread. I'm sorry, it's been a shit show. It's crazy right now, and well, everywhere. But in particular, all the stuff that's happened in the last week or so is like insane.
Well, obviously, the overturning of Roe v. Wade on Friday has been devastating to so many people: women, queer people, people of color. As someone who's so prominent within the Black queer community, what can you tell me about the state of the community right now?
I mean, I can never speak for the whole community. None of us can. I can just say a lot of the stuff that people uh, outside of specifically the Black queer community are talking about is stuff that we've been concerned about and had issues with in period, like the entire Black community, actually, not even just the Black queer community, for a very, very long time. Like this stuff is not anything surprising to us. It is not like people talking about go out and vote. Black women, we
Mhm.
did. We voted. We voted. Like a lot of people voted. Um, this whole thing of going for like basically creating a fascist theocracy, white nationalism and white supremacy that are overrunning our country is something we are well aware of and have been extraordinarily targeted by. Black trans women, Black, like our whole community has been experiencing this stuff literally for centuries. And so like this is not something that is like an awakening for us. What I think what's happening is it's an awakening for the rest of the world who kept saying, oh, it can't get that bad. No, they're not going to do that.
Well, going off of that, what was your sort of reaction as soon as this happened, as soon as you heard? Because, like you said, it wasn't a big shock.
And I still in my body felt shock, which is what's crazy because we knew that they were coming for this. We knew this years ago. We knew that once Twitler got into office, I don't like to say his name, Twitler got into office,
Mhm.
um, they had blocked all of Obama's, well, everything, and that they had specifically basically stolen a seat on the Supreme Court, and then he was able to put all those people in. This has been their goal. They didn't even like it's not they said this is their goal. They literally said out loud, this is their goal to the public. So, but it's still I think shocked me because there used to be a system of checks and balances that even if they didn't do all the things that they were supposed to do, and even though we still experienced tons of racist things and homophobic things and all that, there was a place where the systems actually worked so that even if one part of the system got screwed up, another part of the system held it in check. But by Trump pushing through so many appointees into the court, the like that set of checks and balances is no longer working. By the GOP being so obstructionist, the legislature isn't working anymore. Like even like law enforcement, which isn't one of our arms of government, but law enforcement has long since been deliberately infiltrated by white nationalists and white supremacists. And nobody's paying attention, even though the FBI keeps saying it over and over. Nobody's actually doing anything. But like they're bringing RICO charges against like rappers, and instead of like actually going after white nationalist groups that are the largest terror threat to the United States, like the FBI has said this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was always something working. And it's like, I think it's like that thing of like realizing over and over again that the things that used to work aren't working. And so it's like, what are we actually going to do?
Do you think there's any chance that this will wake people up to the point where they're not just in shock, but they're actually doing something about it?
So I feel like there are some people who are waking up. I, it's an interesting thing because Black women, like the whole thing that like people keep citing The Handmaid's Tale, right? Which I think it's a beautiful piece of literature. It's a great television show, very well written. Atwood says herself that she based every single thing that she had happen to those women on things that had happened to Black, Brown, and Indigenous women in the United States already. But people are acting like because they're seeing it happening to white women on the screen and that that's now a danger for white women, all of a sudden it's like, now we're in a dystopia. Wake up, sis. We've been in a dystopia, and over 50% of white women voted for this man. They keep voting because it protects parts of their life and well-being. It protects their sons, it protects their husbands, it protects their financial well-being. Like that's actually, I think the segment of society really, really has to wake up and realize that like, even though you're protecting things very close to home and in your intimate space, ultimately you're not protecting your freedom and your sanctity. You're ultimately actually not protecting yourself.
Of course, the Black Queer Joy movement is all about shining a light on Black queer joy. As the founder, I know you can't speak, for the movement as a whole or for the community, but personally, how are you yourself dealing with this in the sense that how will you continue to shine that light, if that makes sense?
I have been trying to just cherish every moment and morsel of joy I can find. Like we cannot go someplace without starting from where we are, right? So like if you're in a rage right now, it's completely reasonable. If you are sad and upset right now, that is completely reasonable. If you've got a lot of anxiety right now, it is completely reasonable. And we can't leap to just joy without acknowledging where we're at, right? Like we've got to hold it and feel it. Like one of several of my therapists actually have said, like, you have to feel the feelings because otherwise you push them down, they will squirt out somewhere, right?
Mhm.
But we can find, even if it's just a tiny morsel of joy, and savor it the best we can and let ourselves feel the feelings. And then the next morsel that comes up, savor it and feel whatever other feelings. Like that's the thing. And then the places where we're moved to action, take action, but don't make that the only thing you allow for yourself because we cannot feed or help the world from an empty cup. You have got to refill, you have got to rest. And for all the rest of my brothers and sisters of color, we have been holding this fight for a long time. We can rest. It's time for our, siblings to step up and start doing the work.
And for more additional coverage, please stay tuned on theadvocate.com.